I see what home, chaps and chap, it's Game Chap and Bertie here.
Yes.
Yes, indeed, fellows, and I dare say we have some rather interesting news for you here, pertaining to an announcement slipped into a recent Nintendo financial statement for their company. Actually, that statement was released today, I believe. Now, this pertains to some DLC for some of their blockbuster titles, doesn't it, old chap?
It most certainly does, yes indeed. A big sort of rather heavy announcement that they do on these fiscal ending year statement things.
Right.
But as you said, within it was some very interesting information whereby they have made very, very clearly that they're going to be doing DLC for the big titles, which we know, of course, as Super Smash Bros. Wii U and, of course, also Mario Kart 8, and I believe possibly 3DS as well.
Right, now that's quite interesting, of course, because we are aware of 2 DLC packs for Mario Kart 8 so far, but we didn't have knowledge of any further up until now, and also, up until this official confirmation, it was only rumoured that there might be more DLC for Smash Bros. On the way, but
yes.
Basically now we've got this in stone here.
We most certainly have, yes indeed. Now let's just pick up there straight in, as you said, with Mario Kart 8. Now we've just seen some DLC come out for that very, very recently.
Right.
And the quality and standard of that was very high.
It was indeed very good DLC packs, both of those.
Most certainly. And of course Super Smash Bros. Has also had DLC as well.
In the form of Mewtwo.
Yes indeed, Mewtwo out there. Very, very interesting. But the big question here, of course, what will they be doing and what will they be introducing? Now, as we know, they have a poll currently going at the moment where people can go in and vote for the characters they'd like to see in Super Smash Bros.
That's right.
So no doubt, whatever transpires from this will be put in this new DLC, but what could it be?
That's a very interesting point. Now, of course, we can take this statement from Nintendo of Japan to mean, of course, that they have indeed been listening to what we've been saying in the polls there, or the people and the gamers have been saying in the polls, and perhaps they're giving serious consideration to those character choices for upcoming DLC. Now, just to recap quickly, we already know that perhaps we have the characters Roy from Fire Emblem and Ryu from Street Fighter on the way as potential DLC. Still a rumour at this point, but to potential DLC. However, of course, the question has to be asked, what other characters do they have in mind for DLC?
Well, very interesting indeed. We know they're coming now. This is an official statement, so we know they're on the way. And no doubt after them, loads more. But yes, what characters could there be in Super Smash? And I'm thinking also Mario Kart 8 as well. What characters could they introduce there? But looking at Super Smash, well, I mean, there's many people who've put all sorts of things on the table, such as Shantae and even Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy's.
Now, that's interesting, of course. We've had some suggestions there that have caused quite some controversy, I have to say, with people like Freddy Fazbear and Shrek and Goku and other choices like that. But, of course, a bit down to earth, I think. Some perhaps serious possibilities might be characters, as you'll say, like perhaps Shantae, I don't know, what's his name, Banjo-Kazooie, people like this, perhaps Shovel Knight, other possible characters there from third-party Nintendo games. But as for the first-party side of things, well, we could see people like perhaps Daisy, I don't know, Waluigi, some other less-known Mario characters. You could have another Metroid rep, a DK rep, etc. and so forth, definitely in the mix there.
I think so, yes. I think we're going to see, as you say, first-hand characters there, people like Daisy, things like that haven't appeared as yet.
Perhaps.
Yes, perhaps. Maybe Toad. I think we can expect these sort of characters, or possibly, but also we should also expect these third-party characters because Nintendo have specifically said they will accept them.
That's right. Of course, they've said it can be any character at all that you'd like to vote to be in Super Smash Bros., not just first-party Nintendo ones. Now, I'm just going to read you here exactly what their statement said. It said, specifically, by sequentially introducing additional download content for blockbuster titles such as Mario Kart 8 and Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS and Wii U, we aim to keep these titles played more actively. So therefore, they are very, very serious about this whole DLC thing, and of course, as we all know, DLC tends to cost money, which increases their profits in the process.
Of course it does, yes indeed. They intend to keep these games going right throughout for a very long time, no doubt. And they're going to use the DLC to do it.
That's right.
And of course, on everyone's mind is, well, what characters will there be? Well, we've just put a few out there. I've even heard mentioned people like Phoenix Wright coming in. I don't know what he could
Professor
do.
Layton, other characters like
maybe
that.
Phoenix Wright maybe his final smash could be pointing him in the eye with his finger or something.
Yes, that might hurt. Lots of damage there, I think.
I don't
but
know.
of course, we have to also examine the possibility that it won't just be characters in Super Smash Bros. DLC. It could also be things like new game modes, new stages, and new ways to play.
Exactly, very important point there, and rather exciting point as well. Yes, new ways to play. Could they add new modes, etc., so
Right.
forth? Of course, stages as well. I think there's plenty
Yes.
of room for different stages that do different things, etc. And yes, there's plenty of room for them to do all sorts of things with this.
The Miiverse stage, of course, we're still waiting for. Perhaps some other stages could return from past Smash Bros. Games. And, of course, what we are missing right now in Super Smash Bros. On Wii U is the big thing, Adventure Mode. There's no Adventure Mode in the game. There was one in the GameCube version of Smash. There was one in the Wii version of Smash. But, of course, no Adventure Mode is notoriously present in this current version of the game. That is, there's no beautifully rendered cutscenes showing the characters going through the world and taking out the big bad boss like we had in Smash Bros. Brawl.
Very important, well, interesting point, I think, there, yes. I mean, I don't know whether they could add that now at this stage, but perhaps they could. Perhaps the DLC characters, etc., that they introduced could have this sort of, these animations and sort of little film things going on within them, perhaps.
I think there is certainly room to include an Adventure Mode in the game. Now, I think before the game was released, they said, well, we're not going to be doing Adventure Mode this time because we don't want people uploading the cutscenes on YouTube. Now, that was a bit of a weak excuse, if you ask me. I think the real reason was perhaps closer to, they were running out of time and wanted to launch the game on time, and to do such a large mode would take an inordinately long time to do.
Well, yes, I think that's probably more accurate, the latter there that you said.
I don't think it was to do with people uploading cutscenes, actually.
No, neither do I. If anything, that would help their sales, I think, so I don't think that would be it, but, perhaps they just slipped it in on the time. But the thing is, yes, I mean, what characters could we have? We've mentioned there could be stages. Could they introduce, would it be possible to introduce, perhaps, special moves, etc., for existing characters within this DLC?
Extra custom moves is a possibility. Certainly people like Mewtwo don't currently have any custom moves, and indeed, presently, of course, I think there are 3 custom moves per character, which, while in itself quite a lot, of course, there's always room to expand on that. Perhaps, of course, also, we might see new ways to use your Mii, and also I believe there's something else outstanding in this game. Oh yes, perhaps the features like tournament mode, etc., and so forth.
Yes, indeed. Perhaps that could be one of the things that they go for. But I think on most people's mind for Smash Brothers will be which characters will they add.
Certainly, and do let us know which ones you'd like to see there, Fidel, which characters you have in mind for possible DLC inclusion.
Most certainly, yes, indeed. Now, just looking at Mario Kart 8, their other big title, I think, just coming in underneath Super Smash Brothers there in terms of popularity.
Yes.
Mario Kart 8, very well presented, lots of things. We've had some recent DLC out, but what could they add in this one, I wonder?
Well, if you ask me, the Mario Kart 8 DLC, the last pack we just saw just now, was very, very impressive. You had Big Blue there, an amazing stage with a different track each lap. You had the Super Bell Subway, you had the Ribbon Road Return Of, you had Cheeseland coming back, Baby Park, so many amazing courses, and basically so much high quality presentation in such a small priced package, of course. I think the whole DLC packs, both of them together, were only about $15, I think, something like that, so very reasonably priced there, and of course you're getting a lot of value for your money there.
Well, you are, yes indeed, and just looking at the characters, I mean, Mario Kart 8 is very much, for want of a better word, sort of Mario-y when it comes to the actual characters themselves. Very strict to the Mario games and things like that, although we've recently had Link, I know.
Not strictly true, of course, because we have in there the Mii, we have Link, we have the Animal Crossing characters, we have the Isabelle, also from Animal Crossing. I think there is room to include other characters that perhaps don't necessarily belong in Mario Kart, like, well, Captain Falcon. I mean, where is he?
Well, exactly, it's a good point, and when I said that just previously, I mean, that's the sort of general idea you get with Mario Kart going back through the years, but could there be, as you say, openings for new characters, such as, yes indeed, Falcon, and what about people like Samus, for example?
I think that's very possible. Of course, we have already seen the outfits and suits for those characters in the game as Mii suits, which you can unlock using amiibos, but of course we've got Captain Falcon's racing machine, the Blue Falcon, we have the F-Zero Mute City and Big Blue tracks. All that's missing now is Captain Falcon himself.
Yes, indeed, he's not in there, and I think there's an opening for him to be there.
Perhaps.
And could we also see some Smash Brothers characters perhaps moving over into, or appearing into, Mario Kart 8?
Could we see a crossover between the two games there?
Yes, indeed. I mean, could we see some characters like Ike, for example, and Lucina, and people like that?
Well, who knows? That is the question, old chap, I have to say. But of course, also in Mario Kart 8, I think we could see the return of some characters from Mario Kart Wii that are notably missing from this game, like, for example, King Boo, one of my favourites, Funky Kong. I mean, where is he, old chap? Goodness me. Yes. And indeed, of course, Birdo.
Well, oh, Birdo, goodness me, she hasn't been around for a while, has she?
No, that's right.
Long time ago. Yes, indeed. And of course, I mean, why not just throw some controversy out there on the table as well? What about Freddy?
Freddy, no, unless you mean...
No.
Do you mean Frederick from Fire Emblem, old chap?
No, Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy's.
No, really?
No.
You shouldn't have said that, you know.
Perhaps not.
Oh, well,
Perhaps
never
he wouldn't
mind.
fit in the cart, I don't know.
I don't think so, but anyway, they are battles. You could, of course, have some more DLC characters along those lines. Certainly more machines are always welcome too. But what about stages, old chap?
Stages, I mean courses.
Courses, tracks.
Well, yes, tracks and courses. Well, they're doing very well. The recent DLC had some very good courses added to it, no doubt about that.
Yes,
But
Nintendo really showing their talent there, I have to say.
yes, indeed. There's also always, I mean, room for more courses, most certainly. And I think it's one thing they will be adding. But I'm pretty sure that in the fans' eyes and all those chaps and chapettes that are listening, the main things that are going to be on their mind for both of these games with this DLC is the new characters.
Well, perhaps, you know, if you ask me as regards tracks, really Nintendo have an almost limitless supply of those because they've got all of the past Mario Kart games to keep making retro tracks from.
True.
So they can introduce new tracks, whatever they dream up perhaps, and of course fall back on their retro tracks to have a nice mixed selection of cups there, of course, in the near future as DLC. So perhaps
Exactly.
I do certainly think there's possibility for more DLC for both of those big games shortly, and now Nintendo themselves have confirmed that that's exactly what they want to do. Rather exciting.
Well, it is most exciting, yes indeed. You were just saying about the tracks there and how they can draw on the old ones,
Yes.
which makes it rather interesting from a character's point of view, because of course they can't necessarily do that. There's only so many they can use, which is where the third party thing can come in and perhaps add a little bit of flair, excitement, and sort of a change, as it were, with different characters we've never seen before racing around. Or
Perhaps
fighting, as it may
could
be.
we avoid things like, you know, Metal Mario, Baby Mario, Cat Mario,
Yes,
Super
please.
Mario, Fireflower Mario,
Yes.
Invincible Mario, Big Mario, you get the idea.
Yes, all
goodness
that
me.
sort of thing, yes.
That craziness. I think we need to have different types of characters, not
Yes.
just the same character with a different skin.
Yes, Snake. No, Snake.
Well, yeah, perhaps not Snake.
We haven't seen Snake in Smash Brothers either yet.
No, we haven't, of course. How could we forget Snake?
Exactly.
Where is he in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U? Please, Nintendo.
Yes, for Wii U, that's what I mean, yes, not
Yes,
there.
indeed. I have to say, indeed, Snake is a very good character choice for Super Smash Bros. Just as a side note, Nintendo have also confirmed that they have other first-party titles on the way for 3DS, such as Rhythm Tengoku, a new Fire Emblem game, and on Wii U, Splatoon, Yoshi's Woolly World, and Mario Maker.
Yes, they threw those in there as well. But what do you think about all these this DLC coming out? We've sort of wet the old taste buds there. What do you think about what's coming out? What would you like to see? Let us know.
Indeed, new game modes, new characters, new stages, new carts, new Smash Bros. Fighters. Let us know, Fails, what your choices would be for those categories. I dare say the future is certainly looking quite exciting for Nintendo.
It most certainly is, yes, indeed.
Well, this hasn't even Game Chat and Bird, then bringing you rather exciting news for the Nintendo company. Thank you most kindly for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you once more on the next exciting audio item.
Yes.
Until then.